Hello everyone. I saw a lot of people being dissatisfied with the Raiden Shogun, and I thought it might be worth doing a video and giving my opinion on a lot of these concerns. So this won't be one of my usual guide videos. It's more like me rambling, and who knows, maybe it turns into a rant. We'll see what happens. So, in case you don't know what's going on, let me give you a quick rundown while I just farm some villagers or whatever's running around here so that there's something going on the screen. So the first thing is Beto's elemental burst skill isn't working while Raiden attacks with her sword while she's in her elemental burst stance. I think this shouldn't be the case. Obviously it sounds like a bug and it's inconsistent because characters like Jingshou perform their coordinated attacks. So, in case it's intentional, I think MiHoYo should definitely change this. And on top of that, they kind of expanded the discussion to Electro characters in general and how they are too weak. I kind of agree, but I'll go into more detail later. For now, let's just continue with the last point. People are actually dissatisfied with Raiden Shogun's damage in general. I think they are referring to her elemental burst skill in particular. I disagree because she shouldn't deal main DPS damage considering how much not elemental burst damage, how much utility she has in her kit. She increases the elemental burst damage of the whole team, and on top of that she generates energy for her whole team. It's like, I believe they saw Ayaka, she's the most recent character that dealt a lot of damage, and they kind of compare her ultimate burst skill to Raiden's and think, oh, Ayaka deals much more damage, but Ayaka has no utility for her team whatsoever. She's a pure DPS character. It's like if you're saying Ayaka's E skill, they should add like elemental burst skill damage for her whole team to this, and on top of it, when Ayaka uses her elemental burst, she should generate like 40 energy for her whole team. That would be ridiculous. Do you agree? I feel people are. This sounds like power creep 101, and I don't think that's healthy for the game. So this was the quick rundown. Now I go into more detail. So if this was all you're here for, thank you for watching this far, I guess. Now let's talk. Obviously, the Beidou situation, let's be real, it shouldn't be a thing. Like I said earlier, I think I said everything that has to be said. I just demonstrate that Jingshou actually triggers the Raiden's triggers upon attacking with Raiden's elemental burst skill. So why shouldn't Beidou do the same? And see here, we trigger the rain swords. So if it's intentional, MiHoYo, just reconsider changing your opinion on this matter and change it, because there's literally no reason why it shouldn't be the case. They already refunded some, or they give a compensation, and I don't know if that means that they plan to change something, but we'll see. Other than that, Electro characters being weak, like I said, I kind of agree, but I think it's semantics, because I don't think Electro characters are inherently weak. It's more like their elemental reactions aren't the best. I think you obviously can't touch Overload, because it would indirectly buff pyro characters as well, and it would make every pyro reaction in the game literally the best damage reaction. So you obviously don't want to do this, but you can definitely either rework or buff Electro Charged. I think that would be the best way to give them a buff, because there's only Child as Hydro character, so we don't know how good Hydro main characters are, and because we don't have a lot of reference. But I think buffing this one reaction wouldn't break the game. Other than that, you obviously want to change the what's it called, the resonance, because it's literally useless. I mean, look at this. Affected by Hydro for 40% less time, no one cares about this. Let's be real. Superconduct Overload and Electro Charge have a 100% chance to generate an electro elemental particle. 5 seconds cooldown. Compare that to the Pyro Resonance. Affected by Cryo for 40% less time, no one cares. Attack increased by 25%. It's not even comparable. It's obviously so much more value. It's not even funny. This needs to be reworked. We already had the Geo Resonance reworked, so who knows? Maybe it will happen with the Electro Resonance as well. I think this is an obvious way to increase the value of electro characters, because this is literally non-existent. This literally does nothing. And like I said, I don't think electro characters are in a bad state. If you look at characters like Kiching, I mean, they aren't amazing, but their kits work and they do fine. Obviously, Raiden Shogun, I think she does fine as well. We'll get to this later, because there are some people who disagree. And okay, there aren't a lot of pure electro characters. Like Razor obviously doesn't count, he's more like a physical character. And a lot of them are supports, like Fischl. She does fine, obviously, but people used her in the beginning of the game a lot more. She kind of has fallen off. And Kujo Sara, I think a lot of people like her. But she doesn't really deal a lot of damage. It's more like she's a walking attack buff, let's be real. Last but not least, I think a lot of people are dissatisfied with the Raiden Shogun's personal damage. I think when they say this, they refer to the elemental burst skill damage. I can't imagine they actually talk about the initial damage. I think they almost likely are talking about the damage that she deals with her normal attacks, because her initial burst damage is actually quite high. Even if you do nothing and just press the button, it should deal like 30,000 damage, which isn't bad. If you gain a bunch of resolve stacks and use characters like Bennett, it is at least double of that. And if you use Zhongli and Nemo characters or something like that to lower resistance, it's even more. So it's not terrible. So I don't really agree with the damage part of that. For her normal attacks, let's just demonstrate the whole thing here and use her skill. As you see, okay, we didn't see a lot, but it was probably around 50,000 damage with her initial skill, and we saw one normal attack that hit for 10,000 damage there. I think that's good enough, and my reason for saying that is she is a support character, so I don't think there's a need to increase Raiden Shogun's damage to the point where she is on par with pure DPS characters, because if that were the case, there was literally no point in ever picking a character like Ganyu or Ayaka, Hu Tao, whoever who is a selfish character and only deals personal damage. So because Raiden Shogun does the same, while on top of that providing team-wide utility. So, and let me just show off the utility in question. Do we have one more of those big guys? I prepared this team. As you see, every character here has a different energy value for the elemental burst skill. Ningguang uses 40 energy for her elemental burst skill, Mona uses 60, and Eula uses 80. So with her E skill, Ningguang would gain 12% elemental damage bonus, elemental burst damage bonus with a level 9 E skill of Raiden. Mona would be at 18% and Eula would be at 24%, which is already really good. But on top of that, just look at this. All I'm gonna do is use Raiden's Q skill and see how much energy we actually generate. That's lagging a little bit. Okay, the skill is down, probably. Oh, that's not the button I meant to press. So let's just get out of here and see how much energy we generated. I just showed you that everyone was at 0 energy. Ningguang is at probably like 35. Mona is probably at like... Her whole thing is 60, so she's probably at 40. Probably 35 as well, actually. And Eula the same thing. So obviously that's pretty strong. So you can't just increase her damage and give her that much team-wide utility on top of that. So yeah, that's my opinion on the Raiden Shogun meta. I think people are blowing this way out of proportion. I think you don't want to repeat the Zhongli's thing, because this might be an unpopular opinion, because I think Zhongli needed a buff, I agree with that. But I think they over-tuned him, because his Q skill is completely fine, his elemental burst skill, I mean, but his E skill, his like elemental skill, essentially this skill reads, press E, your whole team becomes essentially immortal because the shield is that big. You summon a pillar that deals a little bit of damage, no one cares, and on top of that, you just press a button and without any effort, you lower the resistance by 20% for every element. I mean, you actually need to do something with anemo characters. Sure, they get a bigger payoff. They lower the resistance by double of that, but Zhongli is so versatile that he fits in every team because he lowers the resistance to every element. I think, in my opinion, that's a little bit too strong, and everyone uses him in every team. I don't want the same thing again for Raiden. So you have 2 of these characters, and you basically, if you want to be efficient, you only have 2 slots to choose from, because you want Raiden and Zhongli in every team. That's my opinion on that. Okay, it actually turned into a little rant there at the end, but let me just go over my stats. As you can see, she isn't that amazing. Her attack isn't even above 2000. With Pyro Resonance, it's just under 2.1k, so it's up there, but not like amazing. Crit rate, crit damage, obviously you can't get that much of this if you have that much energy recharge. You need to sacrifice a little bit of those stats. Her electro damage is obviously really high because of her passive. Weapon I can get more damage obviously because I don't have the refinement yet, but I'm using the catch. In my opinion, it's the best 4-star weapon for her. But as you see, I'm not even using the 5-star weapon. I don't have any constellations. Obviously her talents aren't there yet because weekly bosses. And her artifact says, I have some really good pieces, but others like this one, it's like one wasted stat and it's not like crazy good. This one is pretty good, this one is pretty good, this is probably irreplaceable to be honest. This is pretty good, it's offset, but it's hard to replace as well probably. This started really good but rolled a lot of flat health, so it turned out to be average at best. So these stats aren't unachievable. This is pretty average as a free-to-play player. So, and you saw in this video, she did just fine. So I'll end it here. If something similar happens, I might do this again and give my opinion on the matter. If not, I probably resume to doing guides. Anyways, thank you very much for watching and have fun in David, and bye bye.